even just go back to the games, right? Like CrossFit Invictus was this, it was more homegrown, right? Because a lot of the people were there already, but they like handcrafted that team. East Nashville Proven, super team. Oslo Navy Blue, pretty homegrown, but they pulled in a lot of the best athletes from around Norway to do that. Move Fast, Lift Heavy, same thing. It's kind of a super team of sorts put together by Christian Harris.
Mm-hmm.
No Shortcuts was a new team last year.
Yep.
That could be. They're the team where I'm like, what do they got cooking?
Yeah,
because I think they're maybe someone that you could look at for next year as being a big mover. The Walleye you had two teams in the top 10 from Sweden, Prestanda and Walleye, that were mixtures and amalgamations of Swedish super teams and top athletes there. Mayhem Independence, I think you'll have another version of that, probably led by Angelo next year. OBA, a team that came together the year prior, but reset a little bit to try and make another push. So it's, I think Omnia might be their ninth. I'm trying to think. They had, for the most part, kept most of their people from locally. But honestly, I think outside of that, I mean, the top 10 is dominated by quote unquote super teams of people collectivizing from different areas. So I think that era is just kind of here now. And I think, what is it? 2 weeks before Christmas, we're going to, I think this is going to be about the time where, one of our early Christmas gifts is going to be figuring out who are the contenders for next year's competition.
Mm-hmm. And it will be interesting to see who that fourth and final person is. And again, I was just taking a guess on that one. It wouldn't shock me if it was Annika because of the amount of time that we spent training with that crew. But okay, let's move on now to the interview that Lauren and Tommy did about an hour ago with one Lazar Jukic, who now finished officially third in Dubai. Our last episode, the leaderboard we were looking at had him in second. He is now back officially in third place, but he is getting ready, as you heard Lauren say at the top of the show, to compete on a team with Karin Frey and his brother Luca at the Grove Games. So here is the interview that Tommy and Lauren did with Lazar Jukic.
All right, now let's welcome in our guest for today, coming from all the way out east in Abu Dhabi right now. He is a 3-time CrossFit Games athlete, a 4-time qualifier though, because you turned down the first one. I remember that back in the day. It's Lazar Jukic. Good to see you, my friend. How are you doing?
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I'm doing great, and happy to talk a little bit with you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
you've had a pretty busy off season.
Yeah.
Not so busy as some other guys, but I consider it I consider that I competed a lot this year.
Mm-hmm. And you're coming off another strong performance in Dubai, another podium performance. As Lauren mentioned, you went out to Madrid and won. You're going to be competing in Ras Al Khaimah this upcoming weekend on a team. Where's the line for you as far as, how much you're going to compete in a given off season? And is there any kind of markers that you use to gauge?
So, both this season and last season, after the games, I've decided I'm gonna do 3 competitions. So Madrid, which is the biggest European competition, then Rogue, which is basically after the games biggest competition there is, and then it's either Dubai or Wadapalooza. Wadapalooza doesn't make that much sense for me because it's long travel and it's going back to the United States for the 3rd time, which doesn't really work for me because it's expensive, it's time consuming. You need to get there early to adjust to the time zone, and it's always it always makes more sense for me to do Dubai than Wadapalooza. So those 3 are kind of the staple for me in the off season, and then since I'm already here in Dubai and there's a team competition which might be fun, why not have a good strong team and maybe win and have fun? Why not? I'm always for that.
Okay, I want to talk more about the season, but first, who's on your team that you're going to be competing with this weekend?
So our team's name is LLL and K. So should be Lazar Luka, Lena Richter, and Karin Frey. But Lena got injured in a couple of weeks coming before Dubai, and we needed a replacement, so we invited Noor Blicker.
Mm-hmm.
So it's me, Luca, Karin Frey, and Noor.
Well, what the heck? I'm an L. You could have invited me.
Maybe next time. I'm gonna have it in mind.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Is there any other like big teams there?
Okay, team captain. So maybe you can ask him.
Okay, I'm gonna ask him tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there any other big teams competing, or are you guys going to be like the most prominent one?
I think there is a Kolesnikov team that competed at the games, and the Russian team, and then there are some guys from Norway that competed in a team as like they were not a team at the games, but them were competing together. It's a new team, and they are testing it right now. So let's see.
So when we look at all of these different off-season competitions that you're doing, it seems like they each kind of serve a different purpose, or maybe you have a different goal. Like the one this weekend, of course the goal is always to win, but this one seems more of like a fun thing to do with your brother, with some friends, since you're out here. Madrid, it's so close to after the games, but still could be a good check-in. So what really is the goal or the priority for each of these off-season competitions that you decide to do each season?
Well, as you said, each of them has a different purpose, and for me, like how I choose where I will go is, firstly, like the prize money. Then, secondly, how close it is to my place, to Serbia. And then, thirdly, like I want to test myself against a really good athlete, so I choose a competition where I can do that. And I know programming varies from place to place. So I know what to expect in different competitions. So I prepare myself for that and adjust my expectations. Let's say Madrid last year and this year worked pretty well for me. Rogue in past 3 years didn't work well for me, but I still want to go there and see how my weaknesses improved, or if they improved. And then Dubai has always been probably my favorite competition, and I love being back there. And it's always the best guys come there. So like upcoming guys, the guys that are podium at the games, top 10 at the games, up and comers at the games. So it's just like a good checkout point to the season to see what's happening, and then adjust your programming and everything from there.
Mm-hmm. And so far, what have been kind of the big takeaways in the offseason? You mentioned Rogue and how it maybe hasn't gone as well, but Rogue is typically heavier. It's got a little bit more emphasis on squatting, lower body power, things like that I know we've talked in the past that you want to work on. And I'm curious, what has been the kind of checkpoint for you so far in learning about what you need to work on?
Do you want me to be specific per competition, or do you want me to be like more broad and talk about overall?
As specific as you want.
As specific as possible. Let's get those data points.
Well, in Madrid, I was the most unfit I've ever been in my life that I've competed.
Oh, okay.
So after games, I took like 2 or 3 weeks off, and then mine and Luca's really good friend was having a wedding, so we were like kind of doing that, and then I was really training as much as I could, but that wasn't enough for me to feel comfortable showing up at the competition. And then I show up at that competition and I feel awesome. I do like the heaviest clean and jerk I ever did in the competition. I win the running event. That was actually the first time I I won lifting and run at the same competition, and that actually made it possible for me to win it because Yone was there and he was really fit. He actually beaten me in 5 out of 7 workouts, but his placements were worse than mine, so I managed to squeeze in the win. And then Rogue, I felt really good, opposite to Madrid. Like I was training with Roman, I never felt like I was really surprised that after the games I can feel that fit. And then I go to the competition and nothing seems to work, which is like completely opposite to what happened in Madrid. And yeah, it's just completely different experience. But I also tried and show up a little bit heavier at Rogue because I know it's usually the like strength bias competition, and it didn't really work for me because there were some events where I could have done better if I did my thing, the thing that I usually do. And yeah, after that, Dubai was the best I've showed up this year. I felt really confident. I felt really fit. I felt really strong, and I think it showed. Even though I placed third, I think if I were a little bit more confident in my lifting, and if I wasn't really unlucky in the event with bike, burpees, and Husafel, which was cut-off event, I had really quick turnaround, like basically 2 minutes between the rounds, and I stood no chance against the guys that had like 10 minutes rest. And if there was a little bit more luck, I think I could have been maybe even first, because every time I brought fight to Roman, I won. So like we had 3 events where we competed really head to head, and I've won every time. And that was actually the first time this past competition in Dubai that I felt like I can really win the games, like completely honest.
Wow.
So when you show up to these competitions, you're feeling really good. You don't place as well as you expect. And then the opposite happens. You're feeling like crap, but you win. Why do you think that happens? Do you think that that it was strategy? Do you think that the strength of field is just so strong? Was it strategy in like the workout just didn't pan out correctly, or what can you boil it down to?
So what I've learned in my now years of experience is the most important 2 things is to show up to the competition healthy and not tired. People tend to overdo it and do it nowadays that you never feel like you've done enough, so you kind of burn yourself out. That's what I did before the games. Games was actually not the best I felt this year, and just because I was like, you need to get ready for the games volume, and I pushed it too hard, and I showed up at the games tired. I think also the same happened at Rogue, and with Madrid, I feel like all of that fitness from the games kind of accumulated and had some time to breathe and rest, and I showed up in Madrid, and it kind of panned out good, maybe because of that. And yeah, so just stay healthy. Don't show up at the competition tired, because if you're tired and injured, you stand no chance. So just those 2 things, and if you can combine them with being fit, you can do really well.
Do you think that's a pitfall that some of the athletes, especially as they're coming up in the sport, fall into, where like you constantly feel like you got to train, and if you're not getting that volume, then you're not going to be able to compete? And almost at some point, right, you have to trust that like over these 3-4 years, I've built up enough of a base as an elite athlete to where, hey, I can pull back a little bit and let my body heal and everything else, and just trust that the work that I've done over multiple years will carry you.
Exactly. So what I think is, if you're a guy trying to make it to the games, you really have to train. Like you have like me, Velner, Fikowski, Jeffrey, Roman, Ricky. We are all in on this. And if you want to beat us and like be in the same field and in the same heat with us, you need to be all in. And you need to make that kind of transfer from being like a athlete that's maybe not full in and working a little bit. You need to like commit yourself and then make that extra step by training hard. But then when you are already confident that you can make the games, and now that you've made it a couple of times, you can kind of make yourself not you don't have to like beat yourself down every day. Like, I don't want to say that because you still do, but you can have that off season and then start fresh from, let's say, February. If I'm thinking of myself, there's always 1 month where you kind of want to take it chill, and for me that's January, because nothing's really happening, and with open being changed now to 25